It's Edwin here, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and hoping you have a great week ahead. Today I'm going to talk about something very interesting. I'm going to talk about the 7 emotions that narcissists or manipulative people manipulate in you or in others so that they can get their needs met. I'm going to be talking about the common emotions which even other people just manipulate, or just even which other people just exploit in you so that they get what they want. Stay tuned till then, and if you are a new subscriber, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, let's dive in. So the first thing we need to understand is this: emotions will always play a significant role in like shaping our experiences, relationships, and just the overall picture of how we view the world or how we interact with others. So emotions actually have this power to bring us joy, love, and connection, but those emotions can still make us vulnerable to manipulation and harm, especially if we don't understand our boundaries, especially if we don't understand how our emotions can be used against us. This is not for you to say that we need to be emotionless. No, this is for you to understand how emotions can be used against you so that you can find ways to protect yourself from those people who use emotions to manipulate you and with their needs. And the thing is, toxic people are very good at exploiting your emotions, especially when they seek to control you, when they seek to dominate you. They are really good. And actually, all those manipulative tactics are all preying on your emotions. And they are so good at understanding your emotions, and they will use them as a way to get into your life. And these emotions can either be positive or negative. They'll just use both sides of emotion. And in this video, I will be exploring the 7 emotions that narcissists exploit. And I'll be using feelings and emotions interchangeably because they are almost the same thing for just this video. So the moment you understand these emotions, at least you can become aware of the tactics they use to manipulate those emotions so that you can protect yourself from their harmful actions. So let's dive right in. The first emotion is, of course, sympathy. Like, sympathy is mostly this natural human response to the suffering of others or the hardship of others. So sympathy involves like you just have this feeling of compassion, and you have this desire to help others because you are sympathetic. But now what happens is narcissists have a very unique way of exploiting that sympathy for, of course, for their own gain. So the first thing they do is they can portray themselves as victims. I've talked about them playing victim in the past. So when someone plays victim, of course they win over your sympathy. So they might often like exaggerate their past or fabricate stories about the things they've gone through in the past. They may fabricate stories around, oh, they were abused by their past girlfriends or boyfriends. When they do that, they manipulate you into feeling sorry for them. So by eliciting your sympathy, a narcissist seeks to gain control and to gain your attention and validation. So by playing with your sympathy, they are also like making you feel guilty or responsible for their difficulties. Because when someone talks about something you've put them through, you might feel guilty about it. And the thing is, they love also getting attention and being the center of all the attention. So they use sympathy as a way to keep that attention focused on themselves. And the thing is, we all know that nothing brings people together like when there is a disaster, in quotes, because people will always rise up and want to offer support and attention. Let's say if there's an earthquake or something, people will always rise up and want to offer support, which is, of course, it's a good thing. But now when someone plays victim, they know what they will get. So that's what the narcissist exploits. And there's no problem with helping others actually, but it's a problem when it presents an opportunity for manipulation or exploitation. So they exploit your sympathy. The other emotion is jealousy. So narcissists actually are very good at making you feel jealous in that relationship, or at making you feel jealous in just any of your life endeavors. Here's how they do it. First, they may triangulate you by, let's say if you are in a relationship together, they may triangulate you by creating situations where you feel jealous or inadequate. They may introduce like another party, like other people into the relationship dynamic, like a third person, like forming this love triangle. So the introduction of that person will of course make you feel jealous about them. And also they might flirt with others or keep in touch with their exes just to make you feel insecure and jealous. So the moment they make you feel like you are competing with someone else, like you are in a relationship with them, but they are making you feel like you have to compete with their exes, you have to compete with their parents for their affection. So this keeps you like constantly seeking their attention and approval, because you might change your looks, you might change the way you behave so that you can win their approval. Secondly, like narcissists also plays on your deep insecurities tied with this point of jealousy. So they point out your flaws and compare them to others. Because when someone compares your flaws to others, like, oh, this person has this and you don't have this, you of course you will feel inadequate and jealous. So this way you will end up trying to prove yourself to them, and even hating on the competition because you want their approval, because you don't want the competition to take your man or woman. Yet all along, the main instigator of all this is just playing with your jealousy, playing with your feeling of like you have to compete with someone else. Even when those people are just innocent parties in their game of deceit, you will find yourself just jealous of what they have because they are provoking jealousy. The other emotion is anger. Anger is such a huge one actually, because what they do is they constantly provoke you. They constantly they may make harsh comments, they may make harsh jokes, they may talk ill about you, they may make disrespectful comments, they may lie to you, they may insult you, or just engage in some form of behavior which is hurtful to you. And once you get angry because they are hurting you, they use that anger as a proof of your mental instability or your craziness. So they push you to the limit. So of course you'll get angry because of what's going on, and then now they use that anger to manipulate you further. So once you get angry, they may then resort to giving you silent treatment because of what you've done. Because you're angry, so now they are giving you silent treatment or even ghosting you, which further makes you feel frustrated and confused. The other thing is, when you are angry also, they may use this as a smear campaign tool. They may go around now telling people of the things you've done. Like you've broken a few cups in the house, you are crazy, you call them names because of your anger. So other people now will label you as the oppressive one in the relationship, and then them now will be like the victim or someone who needs to be saved. So you will get to the point where you start doubting the validity of your anger. You are angry for a genuine reason, but because they are using it against you, you now start doubting your anger. So the anger arose from the legitimate reason, but the narcissist uses it to work against you. That's how they manipulate you. Of course, you'll get to the point where you feel guilty for being angry. Like you're angry because of their hurtful remarks, but now you feel guilty because of that anger, and you will even think that there's something wrong with you, or there's something that you need to correct. You may end up apologizing for your anger, and even resort to humbling yourself for rationalizing the abuse, because you now feel that maybe you are the narcissist, or maybe you're the one who's abusive. There's even evidence you've broken a few cups, but because you were just angry and they provoked that anger. So by doing that, the narcissist now starts establishing their control and superiority over you. Yeah. The other emotion is this is a big one. This is a positive emotion: optimism. Optimism actually is more related to hope, or having this positive outlook, or looking forward to a bright future. It's the hope that things will work out for you, or now things will work out for the relationship. So a narcissist will exploit your optimism by, of course, making false promises that feed into your hopeful nature or into your hopeful self. So they will paint this fake future, or it's called future faking, just to keep you distracted from what's going on in the present moment in the relationship. So when they paint, they talk about the future, they distract you from what they are doing to you in the present moment. They'll make you believe that they will bring your future desires or your future dreams to light. So they might talk about, example is, let's say you wanted that house by the beach, that house by the mountains. Like, they just mirror those deep desires you really want to pursue in life, like that dream career, those beautiful babies, like vacations together, like buying you that dream car, buying you that dream house, or being that that man or woman who works on themselves, or just any other superficial pursuits you want. They may also promise you that if you get married, for example, that they'll change their behaviors. So let's say they might be addicted to some drug. They tell you, like, if you get married, I'll stop drinking. So of course, instead of looking at the addiction which is happening now, you are glued to marriage. Then that happens because they are exploiting your optimistic. You are optimistic that they will change. You are optimistic that they will work on themselves. So also, like when you're about to leave them, let's say when you realize that the relationship is not working because of something they've done to you or because of the abuse, they may apologize or promise you that they will change their behaviors, and they may even show glimpses of change. So all of these make you feel even more optimistic that the relationship will work. So your optimism is being exploited so that you can lower your boundaries, so that you can rationalize the abuse, so that you can ignore the abuse or minimize the abuse, and not minimize all your concerns about the relationship, and just focus on the beautiful future which is yet to come. And with optimism, actually, they may not even be showing any hopes of changing in the present moment, but because you are so optimistic, you are so glued to the bright future, you will not see, or you are so glued to the bright future you will have together, while they are just using you in the present moment. So your mind, your eyes are looking at 10 steps ahead, but in the first step you are being used. So in your mind, the relationship will work out because you are optimistic, but in the present moment it's not working out, and you're just being depleted emotionally, depleted physically, depleted mentally. That's how they use optimism to really exploit you. The other kind of emotion is this feeling of fear. So a narcissist will actually use your fear to influence you into doing things you don't want. So they take advantage of what scares you to make you do what they want, or to make you serve their needs. So they may intimidate you, like by using aggressive or passive aggressive behavior, or they may intimidate you by just engaging in some form of intimidating behavior, like ruining your life, threatening to ruin your life if you leave the relationship, or threatening to expose your secrets if you don't do something for them, or just something that makes you feel like you are in danger, or that makes you feel like your life is being threatened, or your livelihood is being threatened. They may also make you fear the consequences. I talked about this like last week. Like, you might fear the consequences of not listening to them, or of not, or making you doubt your thoughts and perceptions. Let's say, like, if you leave the relationship, you will end up being alone. If you leave, you cannot survive by yourself. They just feeding you with consequences if you leave, and it can be quite scary to face the challenges of life, let's say, if you leave them. And the thing about this fear, as I talked about last week, is it cripples you from taking the necessary action that delivers you from the fear. So fear breeds fear. So when someone feeds you with fear every day, instead of taking action to face the fear, you will be taking action away from the fear, and it's all happening in your head. And when you're afraid, actually, of course, you'll bow down to their demands, because you feel that it's a better way, like it's better for you to remain in the relationship with that monster you know you are dealing with, that narcissist you know who's manipulating you, even know they're manipulating your voice, than dealing with the angels you don't know out there. Like there are other monsters out there. Like the monster is ending up alone, being single, loneliness. So it's better to just deal with the person because they played with your emotional fear. The sixth emotion is a positive emotion. It's happiness. Yeah, this is a great one. Of course, we all want to be happy. We all want good things to happen to us. So in our lives, even me, I want to be happy. So what happens is the narcissist exploits extrinsic happiness. Your extrinsic happiness. Extrinsic happiness is happiness derived from external factors. So this happiness is the shallow kind of happiness that they prey on during the love bombing phase. So the thing is with life, if you get excited and very happy when someone buys you something, when someone buys you that beautiful gift, or when someone brings you flowers on Valentine's Day, or does those superficial things to you, then that will always be a get past manipulation. So if you put so much like meaning to material possessions, like to make you happy, then of course that's what the idealization phase is all about. It's all about exploiting your superficial kind of happiness to get to you. So if you depend on social status, validation, I want you to post me on all Facebook pages, I want you to tell everyone that you are my partner, blah blah blah, or just any form of outward circumstance to feel happy or to feel satisfied and contented, then of course that will be easily exploited. So a narcissist preys on your desire for happiness from external things, not internal things. There's the intrinsic happiness, which is internal stuff like creativity, and there's now extrinsic, which is now those superficial things. So the moment you get that high in the beginning of the relationship, those grand gestures, like they took me out to this beautiful place and I love them so much, blah blah blah, you'll be craving for that high and wanting to go back to that phase. So you'll be remembering the happy moments, the superficial happy moments, and you will ignore the reality of what's happening in the relationship in the present moment because you want to be happy. You want that happy phase of the relationship back. Yeah, you want happiness, but the happiness is shallow. So because you want this happiness, you will forgive them, you will listen to their apologies, you will lower your boundaries, and even make excuses for their behavior because you want that happiness you felt early on. You want to be happy. And that's how they've toyed with your extrinsic happiness. They've toyed with your happiness due to external circumstances to control and manipulate you. So the narcissist becomes like this puppet master for your happiness drug. Like he's the one who's now supplying you with that happiness drug, and you want that drug so much because you don't have inner kind of happiness. You just have this outer kind of happiness. And the thing is, when you focus on outer things as a source of, or as your source of happiness, it doesn't matter if you've dealt with a narcissist or you're just living, your life will of course be shallow. And when your life is shallow, you will attract shallow people who only offer you that shallowness. If the only thing which someone is offering you in the relationship is buying you this for you to be happy, then that's not a relationship. You just have to work on yourself. The last emotion is guilt. So guilt is this emotion where a narcissist exploits to make you feel that you've done something wrong, to make you feel bad. So they guilt trip you to behave in a certain manner or to feel bad for your actions or inactions. So a narcissist will, what they'll do is they will make you feel guilty, like when you do something they don't want, or if they want you to do something they want, or if they want you to do something which makes them like avoid taking responsibility. And the thing is, when you feel guilty, actually, of course, you don't want to feel bad for something. You will be compelled to do an opposite action in a quest to ease those deep feelings of guilt, or in a quest to correct your wrongdoings. Because you are guilty, you want to do something to correct those wrongdoings. So this makes you susceptible to their manipulation. Their games of manipulation and control, because The feeling of manufactured guilt is uncomfortable. You don't want to feel bad. You want to feel at peace. They may also blame you because of their shortcomings, because of their behaviors, because of what's happening in their lives, which makes you even feel guiltier about what you're doing in the relationship. Like you're just being blamed, you feel guilty. You're just being blamed, you feel guilty. And when you are pushed to the limit and you are pushed to the point where you feel everything is your fault, even the things happening in someone else's life, of course you'll live your life trying to correct your wrongful actions, even if those corrective actions are violating the boundaries. You may be just listening to their harshful comments, but you don't really care. You don't assert your voice because you don't want to feel guilty. So those are the 7 emotions, and it is crucial actually to recognize and understand the emotions that the narcissist or even manipulative people exploit in order to protect ourselves from their harmful ways. Because when we become aware of how they manipulate our sympathy, how they manipulate our jealousy, how they manipulate our anger, how they manipulate our optimism, fear, happiness, and guilt, at least we can develop stronger defense against their oppression, against their tactics, because we know the emotions they use. So they will use these emotions and how you are feeling to kind of destabilize you and make your life a living hell and make you susceptible to their abuse. So that's why they shake those emotions, which are just part of human nature. So because in this life we all want to kind of avoid pain and seek pleasure, you'll of course find yourself lowering your boundaries. You'll even find yourself like bowing down to their demands because you don't want to experience those uncomfortable emotions, or because you want to experience those comfortable emotions. And actually, there's nothing wrong with emotions. It doesn't mean that you become emotionless. No, there's nothing wrong with emotions because it's part of our nature. But it's just important to recognize that those emotions can be used against you, especially if you're not deeply aware. These emotions actually are part of just this complex emotional landscape we have as human beings. Guilt is very important, happiness is very important, fear is important, and it shapes even our interactions with others and how we respond to things in the world around us. But now, in the context of manipulation, those same emotions, as I've said, will be used against us. Will be used against us, particularly by those people who just want to serve their needs and who can just go an extra mile to serve their needs, and who knows that those emotions are the things which make you vulnerable, and they can exploit those emotions for their own benefits. And the thing is, toxic people actually have this keen understanding of human emotions, and they know what they're doing. They are really good at what they do. They are really good at exploiting the feelings of guilt, feelings of happiness, because they know what they're doing. They know what you want. They know what's making you susceptible. So when you understand these dynamics actually, and you become like deeply aware of our emotions, it's one of those steps actually which will be so crucial for you to protect yourself from manipulation. If it's happiness from extrinsic things, you understand that actually there's another kind of happiness called intrinsic happiness. So when you recognize when your emotions are being also used against you, of course it will empower you to set and enforce healthy boundaries around a certain emotion. Let's say if it's happiness, you can set boundaries around not falling for this cheap kind of happiness of focusing on buying material things. So by becoming self-aware, at least you can navigate relationships more effectively without the need of looking for something from someone to feed those emotions. Hope that makes sense, guys. Lastly, like, it's actually important to note that awareness of these emotions simply goes beyond like memorizing this information, reading about these emotions, printing out these emotions. No, it goes beyond that. True awareness, like deep kind of awareness, involves like going deep within ourselves. We go deep within ourselves and bringing to light those aspects that may be buried in our unconscious mind. Like it's about making the unconscious conscious. so that we get to the point where it's like we've integrated what's unconscious with the conscious, so we just totally aware of what remains hidden, or those things that are hidden or buried deep within you do not affect your emotional well-being in the present moment. That's the whole aspect of healing. It's all about bringing the things you are burying deep inside to the surface, so that you are now aware of the full spectrum of all your emotions. So healing now is more of facing the uncomfortable truth. Like truth, it's uncomfortable, but that's the only way. Like healing is so uncomfortable in the beginning, but that's the only way you'll get to this feeling of having a deeper sense of comfort, like understanding your emotions. And that's now what you can call emotional mastery, because all the emotions buried deep inside are in the surface, and nothing can use those emotions to manipulate you because you understand them on a deeper level. Hope you found that informative, guys. Feel free to share some of the emotions which the narcissist or people have used in your life to manipulate you. And until next time, feel free to share, comment, and subscribe. Have a lovely week.